Again, this is voice acting for business and pleasure. I'm asked a lot of questions about the business itself, less so about how much fun it is, but it's a lot of fun. I want to talk about that part too. But I say business and pleasure because, yes, it's a business. Yes, it has to do with performing, being a professional, taking care of yourself professionally, monetarily, maintaining the integrity of what you do. That is a very important part that not a lot of people really take into account. I mentioned before that right now we're on strike against 11 companies that make games, including Disney Voices, Activision, Blind Light, I think is the name of the companies, or something like that. So I want everyone at some point, make sure you tweet to Performance Matters and put in your 2 cents worth on our behalf, because we are striking right now against those 11 companies. Not all of them. Blizzard, we're not striking them. They take care of us. They're good, you know. We're coming up with a new contract we hope that they'll sign that allows us to get residuals, because with all the billions of dollars those people make, we don't get one dime off of the sales. They just pay us, and that's over. That's wrong.
I mean, even though you create a character?
Even though we create it, even though we go in and do the work, once it's on the disc and they go out and sell it, they keep all the money, all right? It's our work making the money for them, but they don't think they should give us anything. You can't pry a nickel out of their hands. Even though the multi-billion-dollar industry, they won't give us anything, so we're striking for that. So everyone, again, Performance Matters. Put in your 2 cents worth on our behalf and say, look, we want our people back, we want our games back, because a lot of things are not being made now for that very reason. So that's part of the business, something you need to watch. Now, how many guys here have you thought about actually going out and doing voiceover part of the time or as a career? Yeah. Most of us have thought about it at some point. Even at just growing up as kids, and we imitated the voices. Like I talk about, I used to listen to cartoons all the time. I would run home to make sure I got home at exactly 4 o'clock, because that's when Kimba the White Lion started. Okay, I had to see Kimba. That was my show, one of my favorites, right? So, I always imitated the voices, but especially Daniel the Baboon, okay? Daniel the Baboon sounded like this. This was what the character voice that he did. And then when I was in my mid-age, I got a call from a director I'd worked with on a pilot. And he said, oh, there's going to be an old show from the 60s we're bringing back. We want to try and see if we can sell it, you know. And you'll do an episode, usually, and then you'll bring it to whoever, whatever the network is. Come on in, come on in. You're not allowed to stay outside, but I want you in now. Good. Sit down, please. You are my honored. Oh, cool, the balloon guy? Did you do that? Oh, that is awesome. Look at that. Should hold that up, everybody needs to see that. I admire anybody that can make anything or draw anything. I have no talent for that crap at all, you know. People do a sketch of me, but 2 minutes, they go, here, I'm like, I can't draw flies, you know. I mean, I have no talent for anything like that at all. And somebody will pick up 5 balloons and they come up with this amazing thing, and I'm like, please. 5 minutes of that kind of work, you know, just to be able to do it well, then I would be okay. I did it, you know. Anyway, I got a call from this director that I'd worked with on this pilot, and he said, we're bringing the show back, and we're hoping we can get an episode and they'll like it, and we're bringing the show back. It's called Kimba the White Lion. I went, and I told him the story. I had to run home, 4 o'clock, I hit the TV, Mom, get out of the way, Kimba's on, you know. And he said, we want you to play Daniel the Baboon. And I went, that's perfect, man. I remember the voice, you know. So sure enough, we did the first episode. Daniel is attacked. Kimba's father, the big ruling white lion in the jungle and all that, comes in. I forget what animal was attacking me, but I said, well, that's just the way it is in the jungle. The weak are victimized by the strong. He goes, well, that isn't right. It shouldn't be that way. And his son grew up with those same values. He was a vegetarian lion, you know. Imagine how PC that is right now, you know. It's like sharks that don't eat meat, you know. Oh wait, there was a movie with that, isn't there? Yeah.
Fish are French, no?
There you go. Yeah, the thing is, When you are called upon, you need to be ready. I talked about this in Voice Maker. You need to have these things ready. In this case, I just happen to remember the actor who did that. Whoever that was, whatever voice he used was very familiar to me. So I came in and I did that. And I worked very fast for this guy, which is why he called me back. He knew I did a good job. And I would work fast. I wouldn't cost him a lot of extra studio time. That's, again, part of the business of it, okay? And you really need to watch yourself and not just say, well, it'd be fun to be a voice actor and, you know, great, and then you go and sell yourself cheap or for nothing at all. There are studios, I won't say any names, but there are studios that want you to come in and they say, you get to learn on the job. We won't even charge you to do workshops. Come in and work on a show, all right? You get to get in front of the mic. We won't charge you anything for it. You're going to get in front of the mic and you are going to be working, okay? This is your introduction. You will be working. So you go in and you do background voices, or you might even do a small character or something like that. Good job, wow, wow, excellent, you know? Anything else comes up, we let you know. Now what happens?
They don't let you know.
Well, they might, but what happens is the work you just did, that you didn't get paid for, is on TV. Remember what I said about the billions of dollars that the makers get and you don't get any more? Well, you worked for free and they're using your work. You didn't have a contract that wasn't union, you can't do a thing about it. They've just taken your work and put it on TV and didn't give you a penny for it, okay? You have to watch out, you have to be careful of that. The waters are full of sharks like that. Everybody, absolutely everybody at some point, I'm sorry, I normally am just on the stage or down with a little proscenium here, so thank you. But I wasn't, you know, uncomfortable, that's okay. Okay, buckaroo. Shucks howdy, how y'all doing? Hey, well, Judy, we got a real new one here, and it's a real doozy. That's out of the movie, you know? One of my favorite lines ever is Punch. It's a real doozy. Anyway, I don't want to digress from this. An important thing when I talk about taking care of yourself, do not let yourself be exploited because the waters are full of sharks that will do that. Thank you. And their excuse is simple. It's so expensive to put this stuff on, but don't you see what we just did? We let you learn on the job. Normally in LA, people charge for that. We let you do this for free. Now, as far as when you ask, they never let you know? Well, guess what? They might call you in again. You know, there's a part that's really great for you. I mean, sadly, our budget's all stretched. We don't have any money, but it'd be great. And you could come in and you could have another credit on your resume, okay? They always make it sound so good, you know? We're gonna do this nice thing for you. It isn't gonna cost you anything. And guess what? You're getting on-the-job training and you have a credit for your resume. And then they sell the episode and keep all the money, you don't get anything, and there it is, your work is making money for somebody else and you're not getting anything for it. Why do you suppose I got this damn t-shirt on? Okay? Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists. From the old days, there were two different unions. I'm in 3 unions. Okay, now I'm in 2 because these merged, but I'm also in Actors Equity. So if I perform live on stage in a play, it's got to be under contract. I will not do it otherwise. You've got to protect yourself. The only time I ever got hurt on stage, luckily, it was a union contract. So I had to go to the hospital. I had to be x-rayed. I had to stay in town overnight instead of leave that night. I had to take meds and do all this other stuff. Imagine if I had to foot that whole thing myself. All right, that's why you get into a union. That's why you get a union to take care of you. Protections. You will hear people in right-to-work states where basically they say, well, yeah, maybe you can work in a union contract here, but we aren't going to pay you to travel. We're going to hire you as a local. That's how they defeat some things like that, because now, I have a friend that lives in South Carolina. He wants to work on The Walking Dead. Who knows what state that's shot in?
Georgia? Yeah, Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, it's in Georgia. So if I went up for a role and they wanted to cast me, they would say it's called a local hire. We will not hire you as an actor from out of state. You have to work as though you are a local. So you need to pay for your own plane ticket here and back, or my friend in South Carolina would need to drive, and it's a local hire. That's how they defeat the union things. Well, guess what? Now you don't have a right to a place to stay. They're supposed to put you up. It's in the union rule. So if they decide they're gonna do a local hire, you're on your own for your lodging. They might get you a place with fleas in it and dirty carpet and sheets that you have to wash yourself or whatever. A lot of bad things will happen. When I say there are people out there that will exploit you, they will do it and they have no shame whatsoever about it. I get it in voiceover when I'm doing ADR, which is automated dialogue replacement. 98% of actors in Los Angeles don't even know what that is. You guys all know something more than that. I tell somebody I did ADR, they're going, what's that? I said, you're an actor. You know, that's the kind of work we do. You're supposed to know this stuff. That is when you come in later on and add the voices to things. Whenever you see a crowd, okay, in let's say we were all doing a scene and it was at a carnival or something like that, and you see a couple of hundred people in the back and, you know, cotton candy and, you know, kids throwing up or, you know, whatever, you know. None of that stuff is recorded on the spot. It's all silent. They say, don't talk, don't make any noises. Anybody see the first Austin Power movies, International Man of Mystery? Yeah, I did the ADR work on that. And it's hilarious when you go in, and one of the first scenes was the go-go party, you know, and they were all doing all this stuff, and everybody's, you know, doing the dances. When we were doing the ADR on that stuff, and they were playing it in the headphones, all you heard was this. It's dead silent. Everybody's, but they are making a sound, and we're listening, and I just hear, and they were like go-go boots and all that stuff, and they were all just going. And we were adding this stuff like, oh yeah, baby, you know, and then when you record that about 6 times with maybe 6 or 7 people, that's layering. They'll do 6 or 7 tracks. And when they play it back, it sounds like this huge party. But you learn a lot about the filmmaking when you're doing the ADR because you see all this stuff before it gets to the screen. All of the dead silent stuff. Sometimes they have clips in there that are black and white. It's not done yet, and you see how important you are as an ADR actor, as a voiceover person, to making this product work. This is what completes it. It's the part of post-production. Everybody says do it in post. It's the part in post-production that is near the very end, when they've done everything else, but now they're adding the voices and the sound effects, etc. An extremely important part of the process. Do they want you to do that on a reunion contract? No. They try to get you to come in and do it for practically nothing. And there you go again. We have people saying, well, we want to get you into a voiceover group, but we're going to bring you in first, you're just going to learn on the job. Well, your learning on the job makes money for them, all right? Never let yourself be exploited. It's hard in this business to say one word. What do you suppose that is?
No.
Thank you. It's hard to say no. And they dangle that in front of you. Well, you know, we can't do union this time, but next job, it's going to be a union job. So they want to bring you in and pay you $300-400 for something that should be $900 under a union contract. They want you to come in, and I was in 2-3 different voiceover groups, and we were approached by that all the time. These schmucks, different words that I use among my fellow actors and over 18 panels, for instance. These schmucks would come to the head of our ADR group and say, okay, this one's an adventure film, we shot it in Thailand, it's got mercenaries and blah, 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 so there's gonna be a whole lot of battle stuff and we're gonna need 6 men and 3 women, okay? I said, okay, well, let's see, how many cues? And they'll say, well, it looks like there's about 150 cues total. So that's 2 days work, and in their heads, they're already calculating how much this is under the union contract. And we say, all right, it'll cost this much, and I can get you to 6 actors, and 3 actors is no problem. We go, oh, you know, the budget, you know, we really can't go union, but the next time, we'll do a union job. And guess what happens every time? Okay, well, if they come back to approach you for a second job, you say, all right, so this is the time we're going union, like you said last time. You know, it's really tough. And at this point of production, you know, when the money's running out, we can't, you know, we really can't do that. But next time, and they will next time you forever and ever. They're exploiting you. They are not going to give you another dime for this thing you're doing. Anybody see the movie The Guyver with Mark Hamill? Okay, yeah. Honestly, not a very good film, and you know, right? So, hey, thanks for coming, guys. Balloon on.
I love it because it's cheesy.
Well, yeah, and that's just it. There are parts about it where you just have to laugh. But they did that union. Okay? Doesn't really matter the quality of the film. The idea is that you get a contract that will take care of you. And I get checks in the mail for when people buy that film to either play it on cable or make copies or something like that. I get residuals. It was a union job. We still made money for them, and we're still making money for them. We should get some of that. That's how you have to take care of yourself. Again, voice acting for business. Because we are anonymous, because people don't know our faces, they don't think we're as important. There's no respect for actors, there never has been, probably never will be. We are the only workers probably in the entire world that are expected to make less and less money. Because every time we go to negotiate a new contract, the producers try to take away what we got last time and cut back on everything else. You've heard of a COLA, a cost of living adjustment? They want us to adjust down. Oh, you make way too much money. Oh, you did this and then you got that much. Yeah, I was telling somebody the other night here at the con that I did the Digimon movie, and I got $900 an hour for the first 2 hours, $800 for the next hour, and a one-time bonus of $750. So about 2.5 hours for $3,350. And they'll say, look how much that actor made. Oh, what do you mean you guys don't get this and that? Oh, what do you mean you want benefits? You want to have a quality of life? How dare you? You're actors. That's the attitude they have toward us. They honestly think that way. Well, they're just actors. We can just go get another one. Now, that happens to be true. There are people lined up forever to work. When somebody talks to me about, well, why don't you just make that kind of money all the time? There's 120,000 other actors in Los Angeles trying to make that money, all right? Phenomenally competitive, all right? You've really got to, again, hold out for doing a high quality work and make sure that that is in fact what you are putting out to them. As one of my heads of the group of an ADR said to me one time, if they could do this without us, they would. And that is our power. If they could do your job without you, that is your power, okay? Because they can't do it. They need us. So for that one reason, we can hold out and like right now being on strike. Yes?
Well, and something a couple of friends of mine who do acting, they said like sometimes like that one job that might only be like 2.5 hours, like what you did, that might be the only job they get that month because of how many other people are out there trying to get it. So
that is right.
That's your living wage for the month.
Yeah, when I did last week, and I can't tell you guys a lot of what I'm doing right now, but coming up I have another session for Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. I am doing Dragon Ball Super. Let's see, I did another, what's the one, Digimon, the latest one?
Oh, sure. Digimon Adventure Tri.
That's right, Adventure Tri, yeah. Leomon is back. So I'm bringing Leomon back, luckily, yeah. So I can't tell you guys about the episodes, plot lines, or anything like that, but this stuff is coming. Now, in this week, I'm going home tomorrow, Tuesday morning, 9 a.m., I'm back in the studio. Wednesday, I'm back in the studio. That's 2 days of the week where I'm working. For an actor, that's a pretty good week. Sometimes I work 5 days, and sometimes 2 or 3 sessions in a day. Other times, weeks go by, like you said. It is not a question of how much you get paid on that one really good job, okay? Any Soul Calibur 5, you guys play? I'm the narrator on that, okay? When the game first came out and it was on YouTube and all this stuff, and somebody said, is that the voice of Zemnis? Yeah, Zemnis was the narrator. But it wasn't anything great, like all my great Zemnis lines, you know, you look pathetic, you know. No, I got to say stuff like, level 2, reload. Craft, you know.
Did they at least let you do the opening narration bit with the transcending history and the world?
I think they did. I can't remember the script and all that stuff. But, you know, talking about the 1 day a good pay, that was supposed to be 2 sessions at $12.50 each. They wanted to do everything in 1 day. And I don't like to stand that long because I stand up when I work. I do not sit on a bench or a chair. I'm what I call a stand-up guy, okay? Your energy's better, everything's better when you stand up, and that's how I work. But I also have a bad back, I have a syndrome called Bertolli syndrome, okay? So I have to be careful about stunts and stuff, and I have to be careful about standing for more than 4 hours, all right? So they wanted me to do this all day, and the producers of the studio are wonderful. These two ladies that run Cup of Tea Productions, okay? They're absolutely terrific. They called me and said, we need to do this all in one day, all right? But as I said in my panel the other day, who signs the check? Who's right? Oh, we need you to do this in one day. Can you do it? You think this is good? How do you like the script? They pay. They're the ones signing the checks. They're right, okay? So, yeah, it was difficult. It was hard on my back. It didn't mess my voice up because, again, it was really simple work. But that was one day for $2,500, okay? Did I work at that studio again? Not for a couple of months. Went to an audition, didn't get hired. We audition for a living, we don't work for a living. You will hear actors, I mean, Steve Bloom is just amazing, right? He's subject to the same thing I am and all the other actors. You get a yes for about every 30 times you audition. The odds just aren't good. Now that's the part of the business that I get to right now where I talk about how you need to keep in mind that this is not a place to find happiness, okay? If you're going into show business to be happy, you will end up probably miserable, okay? Whereas you might find artistic satisfaction and you will enjoy yourself, okay? The best part of the business for me is not the business, it's the people I've gotten to know over the years. People I still work with that I first met when I did Robotech in 1984. Usually it takes a hand to do that, but I'm getting good at that. 1985, okay, that was my first show. First show, 32 years ago. I still work with Richard F. Carr. I still work with Steve Kramer. I still work with Wendy Lee. I still work with, you know, the list goes on. It is a great thing to work with wonderful people, but the job itself, you're not going to find happiness and satisfaction. You won't. You need to get a life. And while you're living your life, do all the work you can and work hard and push and do that. But do not walk into show business and say, this is it, this is going to be my source of happiness and satisfaction, because it is a disappointing business. Like I said, when I didn't work at that studio for a long time, it was 2 years at one point between times I worked there. I auditioned, they would call me, but you don't get cast. And everybody, we're all still friends, we all love each other. You don't get to see each other very often. Suddenly I go into that studio again, I do an audition, and I'm working again. It is not something that you should look upon as being your happiness. You will end up probably very upset and bitter, because show business is not a place to find happiness, okay? You find happiness by having a real life. You meet that wonderful someone, or you have a family, you stay close with everybody that's close to you, people you love. Do that. Live where you want to. Now, if you want to be in show business, then there are places you have to go. But that means you're living where you want to because of the business. If I didn't go into acting, if I wasn't an actor seriously, I would never have left San Diego. Who's been to LA and San Diego?
Been to Anaheim.
If you've been to San Diego, and I grew up there, I was born in North Dakota, but I grew up in San Diego.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm from Fargo, North Dakota. That's my hometown.
My brother was stationed in San Diego.
It's a
Good thing, I love you today.
Okay. If you grow up in beautiful San Diego, which still calls itself America's finest city, and possibly is, and then you compare that to big, dirty, smelly, ugly, smoggy, overpopulated, overcrimed Los Angeles.
Yeah, I wouldn't grew up with Los Angeles.
Yeah.
San Diego's wonderful.
Believe me, if you weren't an actor, if I wasn't an actor, I would never have left San Diego. There's just no way. You have to go where the work is. You know, you hear about these fishermen that get in trouble and they get caught, and in the old days, countries would seize their ships, disputes over international waters. Somebody will go, what's the matter with you? Why do you go down there? He says, that's where the fish are. You have to go where the fish are. When you're an actor, you have to go where the fish are, okay? That's where the work is. When I talk about that number, 120,000 other actors, that's basically in LA, okay? There are from all over the country. I compete against people from New York, I've auditioned for things where if I got it, they would fly me to Canada.
Nice.
And that's where the union contract takes care of you. If you get stranded or whatever, you'll be able to get in touch with your agent who has the authority with the sponsor, with the client or whatever, to take care of you. Make sure you get paid, make sure you have a place to stay. That's why you need to have that contract. I was up for a non-union thing, which, you know, sometimes you will work non-union, where I would have gone to Tokyo for 6 weeks, and $100,000 buyout. I use that as an example because I'm going on to the next part of the business, which is your short memory, okay? I have learned over the years, the best thing you can do is do something and forget about it. Forget about it, you know? The important thing is, because once you do a job, it's over, you need to move on. The same is true of an audition. An agent that I talked to, I was doing an improv workshop and the improv instructor was very good. He knew a lot of people. He brought his agent friend in to tell us about the business, to talk to us about what we were going through, how we should look at things, the efforts, what directions we should go in. He said, the best thing you can remember is to not try to manipulate something or handle something that isn't in your hands anymore. When you do that audition, you walk out the door, your audition's over. You'll go nuts driving home, because we have that saying, don't do your best audition in the car on the way home. Because then you're driving along, you go like, damn, if only I'd said that. I meant to do this and I forgot, which is why you mark your copy, you write down the stuff you want to do in whatever little symbols or things like that, and that reminds you to say it that way. I just put like a dot and a line up to another dot, because I want to go up on that word, okay? That is actually a marking technique, I learned it, okay? But it's simple stuff like that. But you don't want to be doing that wonderful audition and getting the dialect right when you're driving home. All right? And you don't want to go home and stress and wait by the phone. I gave my cell phone number, all this stuff. Okay? That isn't here anymore. It's not here in your hands. Do not hold on to something that isn't there. You need to learn how to let go. And that means have another project going. Okay? I told my agent when I first signed with her, I said, first of all, I know you're not my mommy. Okay? A lot of agents have clients that do that. Why aren't you calling me about how that thing was going? You didn't get me in for an audition. I said, I'm a pro and I've been around a long time. I understand this. I said, and also I know how to have other projects ready. When I finish that audition and I go home, if I don't have another audition or if I don't have a job coming up, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stay in the floor molding that I'm going to be putting down in my house. You know what? That's another project. Have something else to do. And that's up to you. Nobody else is supposed to do it for you. You have to be smart with business. Now that is good in any kind of business, no matter what you're doing. Okay, if you are managing, Hot Topic or something like that, there are things you did wrong today that you can't get back because today is gone. You wake up in the morning and you start over again. You have to do that as an actor especially. See, this agent went through this and he gave this wonderful advice, and the imagery was the best thing for me. I will leave a job or something like that, and it's okay to think about what you did, all right? And do you want to improve on something, especially if it's ongoing. If I do something as Leomon and I'm not as happy with it, if I'm going to come back again, I'm going to fix that. And sometimes they say, there was a little da-da-da-da in that episode, we need to redo it. I go, yeah. Should have caught it at the time, sorry about that, So you want to think about your work, but you don't want to obsess about something you can't solve. And then somebody asked this agent, it was great, because he used to be an actor. And they said, why did you go up acting and become an agent? And he just smiled, he went, I couldn't take that advice. I would stress, he would lose sleep. He would, get stomach ulcers. Oh, they didn't cast me, or God, I hope I get this one. When you're done, you're done. You need to move on to whatever else it is that you're going to do. Like I say, this week I'm going to be going in for Dragon Ball Super, and the next day it's going to be Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. All right? So I'm going to go from one job and to the next. Different voice, different character, different all the other stuff that I do. I do not want to go into my Gundam session thinking, damn it, that's super, I could have done I could have done this and that. So your mind is on something that you can't change, and also your mind is not on what you're supposed to be doing right now, okay? And again, it's just good advice in every business, all right? If you do not do something as well as you could, if you can't do anything about it, then it's not in your hands anymore. And real life is like that. Don't keep grabbing at that relationship from 5 years ago. I wish I'd said this. I wish I'd done that, okay? It's okay to think about stuff and remember it, but it should be a memory, not something where you're still, how many years ago was that? Is it here? No. Your hand's empty. There's nothing to do. Let it go. That is so smart in this business. Now, sometimes I'll do an audition and I won't hear about it for 6 weeks. How many Digimon fans? You guys know Wormmon? Yeah. Still tied for one of my favorite voices ever that I did, right? I auditioned for that. I looked at the picture, I looked at the copy, and I thought, okay, I know exactly what voice to do for this one. I don't know if they'll cast me or not. And you need to do that too. Bring your best. Go in there and do your kick-ass best, all right? And then step away because it's in their hands, all right? So when I looked at the character and I saw the lines and I decided on the voice, I knew exactly what to do. I went in, I did my audition, I left, and I said, all right. For me, that was exactly the best choice I could have done. Whether they like it or not is not up to you. That is not in your control, remember? It's not here, so don't think about it. Let it go. And I thought I didn't get it. And it was 6 weeks. Normally you hear within a few days, okay? They let you know and then the thing's coming up. But Fox in those days especially, it just took forever to get through any sort of a process. And there are 10,000 reasons for that. Nothing to do with you, so again, empty hand, not that day, you know, empty hand. Don't stress about that. But I finally got a call. Finally, I just figured, well, I didn't get it, you know. You audition, you don't get it, you move on to your next project, right? So the producer at the time, Paul DeFranco, I called him Big Paulie. Big Paulie calls me and says, hey, you know, the guys at Fox, they heard your Leo, your Wormmon. They thought that was so funny. They thought it was really wonderful. And I was kind of like, well, thank God I didn't move away, you know, so it took them forever to finally tell me. That does happen, but most of the time you hear about it quickly, all right? But even then, once you're done, don't go home and say, I should be hearing in 3 days, so I'm not gonna move. In the meantime, life is going by, okay? So you want to maintain that sort of thing. Getting back to a bit of the pleasure part about it, yes. If you want to go into voice work or to be an actor generally, cherish the times you work because they are fun. They are tremendous. You're hanging around with people who think like you do. In a way, it's like being at a con.
Yeah, it is.
For a weekend, you can all dress the way you dress. Who came to my pirate panel?
I want it.
I do that at panels and twice at the Ren Fair in Los Angeles. Okay, it's okay. Imagine me getting up in the morning. I got to go to an audition today. I got to be an executive. Let me get my bandana on. No, so I don't get to go out and do that anytime I want either. You know, I can. You know, but imagine just with the pistols and stuff and LAPD. Even a flintlock, they'd probably blow me away. You know. And don't get me started on the cutlass. Okay?
Don't freaking move! Don't freaking move!
All right, sucker, put down the rum bottle and slowly back away. It'll be kind of like that. When you are doing this and you do appreciate working, and you are with people, like I say, that you've known for decades, and when I get to be among you guys, okay, that is part of the joy of doing this. I don't break a sweat. I'm not mopping the floor. I'm not, you know, at the cash register at 4 a.m., you know. That is not to say that when you work it's because you're lucky or you should feel lucky, okay? That irritates me to no end. A close friend of mine, a guy I've known for a very, very long time, who used to be an actor and then tried to produce things, went from being an actor looking for work to a producer who says, actors shouldn't get residuals. They should feel lucky to work. He actually said this guy was an actor. They should feel lucky getting work. I wonder, how long have I known you? You know, because he's talking about me. It's right in front of me talking about me. First of all, I don't get work because I'm lucky. I get work because I'm good at what I do. And I don't say that arrogantly. I'm good at what I do because I get cast. You guys know that. You've heard my work, okay? I'm up against some very, very good people. When I go in and audition, I look down that list, I know 90% of the people on there. You know, so we all know each other. It's a very, very small number of people that do anime and voice work, as you guys know. It's compared to the number of actors in Los Angeles, it's a tiny percentage. You got maybe a couple of hundred people that work on this business on a regular basis that are good at it. Everybody wants to be in voiceover. Every actor finds out that Morgan Freeman, you know, did such and such and so and so, right? Okay, and they go, wow, that looks like fun, and I'll bet it's easy, you know. And then you find out he got a $100,000 buyout to do that little 15-second blurb on a voiceover on TV. So it sounds really easy. So every actor goes to his agent and says, can you start submitting me for voiceover? And they get demos done and all that, and now there's a flood of people doing this. Are they any good at it? You know what, let me audition against those guys any old time, okay? I will match up with anybody, I don't care who it is. I will match up with anybody for an audition if it's a part that is right for me. Remotely right, I will compete against anybody. Got no problem with that. But it always makes me laugh when I go in and I can tell somebody just by the way they hold the paper and the way they're reading it. I can just hear in their practice performance that they don't know what they're doing, okay? I will kick their butts gladly. I'm not cruel, I'm not mean, but you know what? It's part of the business. You are there because they're hiring one person.
Yes.
It's weird how the numbers work out though. I was probably one of, I don't know, 15 people, maybe even 20 that auditioned for Zemnis. One chance to get it, and I was the guy they picked, the other 15 didn't. But sometimes the numbers are really weird. There was a game online called Monkeyland, I think it was, and my friend Bob Buckholz, who's the director for Zemnis, Kingdom Hearts, and various other things that I've done. He was the director, and he was auditioning us, and these are all MP3s that we recorded at home, okay? Now, when you go by numbers, like I say, if you're one and there's 25 people on a list and there's only one role, you go and you're auditioning, okay? You're one guy, you're hoping you're the one that gets cast. Now, you would think that when there are a lot of roles and you do a lot of voices like I do, that I get hired. I read with 19 different character voices from Monkeyland. 19 different ones over 2 separate auditions, and I've never been cast. 19 different roles I could have been up for, and I never got. I go, what is with the numbers here? You know, I can book a job that there's tons and tons of money, and I'm up against this fantastic competition, and it's this little internet game that's kind of obscure, and I go in there and I do all these different character voices, and they never call me, not even once. So you can't go by the numbers either, and don't let that be your guide in any case. I remember because it was just such a bizarre circumstance, you know. My God, I did ADR, or auditioned for ADR, and 7 of us read for 4 roles. I had a better than 50% chance of getting it. I went in, I did my ADR audition, I timed everything right, the character had to whistle. I timed my whistle from start to when he was just about on camera, and he steps into camera and he's just finished. And I timed it perfectly, so I wasn't still going when the guy stepped on screen. So I finished the whistle, I came up, pulled out a cigarette in my character, and I said, got a light? You know, and then I shoot the guy. So don't ever offer me a cigarette, okay? Dangerous, man. Bad for the voice, and I'll kill you, okay? Yes. But I did this, timed everything, I even matched the guy's voice, everything was right. I walked out of there going, God, there were only 7 of us reading for 4 parts. Didn't hear a thing. Don't let the numbers fool you. All you can do is what you do for that one role, and that's it. An audition is a beginning and ending process. It is not something that you keep open and again sit there and going like, what's the matter with those people? I'm brilliant, they should have cast me. You have to let that crap go, okay? As far as your ego goes, be confident, maybe even be a little bit cocky, but don't be arrogant. Don't be difficult. Everybody here over 18?
Yes.
Anybody under?
Yes.
Besides me?
I know, me too, I'm really doing
Dog years, I'm kidding, right? Okay, so I'll be nice then. One bit of advice I give to everyone, no matter what you are doing, and especially in show business, do not be an a-hole. Don't be a jerk.
A lot of them are though.
Oh, a lot of them are. A lot of them, it's about their ego, it's about them, it's not about the work, okay? Don't do that. My artistic director for Nevada Shakespeare Festival, okay, did 10 seasons when we were all union, and then 1 season on the 20th anniversary, non-union. But I did it as a favor and made sure Equity didn't hear about it. And I'm on honorable withdrawal from Equity anyway. They don't walk around finding out what I'm doing, you know. My artistic director said it beautifully. We would begin the season, we would have about 3.5 weeks of rehearsal, and then we would go on stage at Henderson, Nevada, for Nevada Shakespeare Festival. We also did that for Shakespeare on the Meadow in Palos Verdes, California. Again, Union Productions, live Shakespeare.
Nice.
We would begin the rehearsal process, and the director would have kind of a little introduction, and we would always have new people, sometimes a lot of new people, and he would say, all right, I want everyone to remember that we're working together as a company and as a community. I don't want any egos. He said, if you're going to be egotistical and difficult, next year, I'm going to get somebody as good as you are without the bad attitude. Remember, there's one number to keep in mind. 120,000 or so actors in Los Angeles. Excuse me. That's just the union ones, okay? Pretty tough numbers, trying to get work. That's why it's so difficult. Don't drag something over your shoulder. Hi, I'm Paul, I'm a great actor, I can do a lot of things, and here's my attitude, I bring it with me everywhere, okay? Remember, empty hand. Don't walk in humble. I get some actors come out, oh, I'm sorry. Like I say, be confident. Learn how to do what you need to do and practice it and get good at it. I do about 40 different accents and dialects.
Nice.
I don't fake it. I'm a phoneticist and a linguist. I've taught these things at 5 universities. I know what the hell I'm doing. Do I brag about it? Nope. I let my audition speak. When I go into to do ADR in a film, and I speak French and Spanish in the same session, when you do, I talked about the, in Austin Powers, when everybody was just doing this, and it was all dead silent, we had that later. I was doing a TV movie for something, I can't remember what it was, but there was kind of like a party scene, and there was lots of tables like this, okay? And I say, okay, we need to cover these. This is 6 actors in a room, and we're going to be voicing, 100 people in a room. So they record 6 different tracks, mix them together, and it sounds nice and busy, right? So we focused on one table. And so we did 5 passes, and I did 5 different voices and accents. I'm good at what I do, I bring that stuff, but I don't walk around, hey, actors, how you doing? I bet I can do more accents than you can. I bet I can do more voices than you. I bet I'm a better actor than you are. That will sink you. But also, do you want to work with somebody like that?
No.
I don't. If I see somebody with a bad attitude, and people ask me, Paul, can you suggest a few actors? Yeah, I got some actors I know. I'd be very proud to work with. I have others that I don't want to put in the booth. They're going to have bad attitudes, and they're going to, God, Paul recommended this jerk to us. We aren't going to ask him again. That's why it's so hard to get an agent. 70% of actors in Los Angeles are not represented. It's hard to get an agent. Why? Because when the agent sends you out and you do a crappy job, does Warner Brothers or Burbank and any of those people, are they going to contact that agent again? No, they send losers. So now your agent can't make any money. A lot of people depend on you and your integrity, all right? Back to the pleasure part of it. Yes, we do have a great time. We're all professionals. You start to inevitably mingle and get to know each other better. Richard Epcar and I play poker. We watch movies. He and I like to sit outside and smoke a cigar. And again, we go way, way back. That's the pleasure part. The other things when you're working and you all get to have a great time. If you guys could hear the outtakes that we do, you would see how much fun we're really having in there, okay? And the stuff we get to do, sometimes they say, just make something up, just say something, and sometimes it's dirty, sometimes it's clean, sometimes it's really silly or crazy or something. I did an episode on a show. It was about another episode, another plot line where the aliens have landed and Earth's population is fighting back and all that. And the main character, one of the main characters, led his own militia group to fight the aliens. His name was Cougar. Okay. Now, think about Cougar, didn't mess around. If you had to fight Cougar, come straight at you. None of this dodging, no weaving, no manipulation, and it was called Straight Cougar. That's what that episode was about, okay? You probably know what's coming, don't you? Because halfway through the session, the director was Kirk Thornton, another terrific guy. We were going about halfway through the session, and I said, Kirk? He said, yeah. I said, a moment. He and the engineer both looking at me all quizzically, and I said, Straight Cougar? They couldn't stop laughing. Which, yeah, it's we're all fun and games, but my thought was, you mean I'm the first one to think of that? Including the writer of the episode that wrote Straight Cougar with a straight face, apparently, and didn't realize what they were doing, you know? See, that's not going to find it, of course, on the show, but that's the kind of fun we have with each other. We all know each other and trust each other. The ones that are difficult, and I won't say the name, but there was one particular director that for years as a writer and as a director and as an actor was sky-high arrogant. When people quit hiring him, quit having him write episodes. Don't be what? Don't be an a-hole. Don't be arrogant. Because again, they will find somebody just as good as you without the crappy attitude, you know. My nephew, loved him to death, went through college, got his degree, did all this stuff in drama, made his own costume, learned how to make a mask, you know, you do all that wonderful stuff. And he said, Uncle Paul, I want to be a voice actor. And I said, you become an actor first. Okay. Your Uncle Paul has worked for a long time in this business. I can tell you 1 in 100 actors has a capacity for being good at voiceover on a regular basis. Now, I say, not bragging, not many can do 40 accents and dialects. Not many can mix them together. You guys see me in my panel and I start adding elements and stuff like that? I'm making that up as I go. I don't just do that like say, I know I feel really comfortable with Australian today. I'll make sure to do that in my panel. I will do this with any accent at all. I will make in French. I will make in French with something's wrong with his throat, like this. I'll go ahead and just add these things. You have to be able to do that on the spot. Don't put it on your resume if you don't know how to do it. The day will come. I'm a teacher. I get people calling me saying, I have an audition tomorrow. I have to do a Russian accent. I don't do one. Well, why did they call you? Well, I put it on my resume. I just didn't think anybody would ever call. They do. Now, what have you done? You make your agent look like an idiot. All right. My agent told me at the beginning, if there's something you're not comfortable doing, it's okay. Tell me. Don't go into that audition and screw up and ruin her reputation. I look like a fool going in there making it up. Okay, we have a few minutes. You know, I can go on about this stuff and all, but y'all pick up something about the business and what we go through? You're learning stuff, you know? I like to make sure that all of you understand the business side of it, especially because right now we're on a strike. And the strike is about the money, and it's why you guys aren't getting those games anytime soon that you love so much. Because there are 11 companies who are striking. When they create games that you want to have and you're waiting for them to come out, they aren't going to. We're on strike. It's part of the business. Question. That means question in French. Yes?
Yeah, when we actually heard about that strike over during holiday monthsary, right, hon?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because Steve was there and he went on about it, so.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting. Heck, I even put on Twitter that we respect the voice actors and thank them for all the hard work that they've done, because performance does matter.
You mentioned that MegaCon Tampa as well.
Does it bother you guys when you hear a new voice on a game? They recast somebody that you know and love?
Yes.
Yeah. When they did a couple of years ago, they came back with more Digimon, and the client, the producers, essentially what we call them clients. The client said, we want all new voices because these are all new characters, so we don't want you to use the actor you used before. I get that. You know, I love doing Digimon, it's fun, and I love the people I work with. The original Digimon had some phenomenal scripts. We were, you know, Emmy-nominated stuff, right? And we had all that fun doing these fantastic voices. But I get it, if you want to start fresh and you want to have brand new, maybe you want to start that way. Well, then I found out they brought Leomon back. And it wasn't me doing the voice.
What?
Yeah, I can kind of let it go, but a lot of people complained. And when I said if anybody ever gets the role of Wormmon, that isn't me, I will hunt the bastard down and kill him. Now, along those lines, I do not have a right to any role I do. None of us do. They want to just rehire, that sort of thing. But would you guys be pissed off if somebody else did Wormmon? Yeah. So I don't have a right to that role, but it's mine anyway. And if anybody ever gets cast to play Wormmon but me, until after I die, then maybe, you know.
And another thing, maybe.
1 minute, 2 minutes?
No, I would,
Oh, yes, yes.
excellent, sure. Several years ago, Anime Festival Orlando had Veronica Taylor as a guest. She's known for playing Ash on Pokemon back in the day.
Yep.
Right before the 10th anniversary, they decided that they wanted to recast the entire series. So at this panel for about voice acting with Veronica Taylor, someone goes, if you could have any role, what would you want? And she started crying and said, I just want Ash back.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody so much fell in love with Wormmon, including me. And again, including me, you know. I don't want to let go of it, you know. And because the writing was so wonderful, that's what endears you to the character. I mean, yeah, those big eyes and all that stuff, that's all good. But the wonderful scripts, the directors I got to work with, that's what makes those characters so memorable, okay? And I get that from people. They say, you're going to come back as Wormmon ever? I said, I did it for a game, but they've never brought the character back to my knowledge. But yeah, when I found out somebody else was doing Leomon, I thought, okay, how dare they, you know? Yeah, but again, it's not, I have no right to do that. It's not my character. Any more than they have a right to my voice. Like I said, Soul Calibur 5, I narrated that with the Xemnas voice. Disney can't come to me and say, hey, wait, we own Xemnas. No. You own my work on the disc, but I made this voice. This is mine, you know. They don't do that. I've never had anybody come there. It is why, though, on the over 18 panels, we do not have you recording us. Because if that stuff finds out there, somebody out there with Disney will hear it. And, you know, one of our actors was doing something that was questionable, you know. That we do have kind of an obligation along those lines. It's not in the contract, you know. But we do have an obligation, and I certainly take that sort of thing seriously. Other question? Yes.
Who actually originated the strike? Like, was it just a group that came?
Overall, as a group, one person always comes up with the idea of what to do. It always starts with someone who articulates what's bothering us, okay? And then first of all, if enough people agree, like we all do, it's been bad for a long time, and they don't want to do anything about it. And again, it's like prying a nickel with a crowbar out of billionaires. They just don't want to let go of anything. So somebody comes up with the idea and talks about it. We get enough people on the internet now, which is great. You know, just email each other, what do you feel? So we did it, and we got together with SAG and said, it's time. So we set up a deadline. So we need a new contract. These guys need to sign it. If they don't, we negotiated for a long, long time, 2 years, trying to get these bozos to treat us fairly. And they wouldn't do it. So we struck. And we're still on strike. It's like 3+ months now. Yes.
These people wouldn't remember, but I remember when the writers struck on the TV programs. And the devastation that it caused on many of the programs that were on the air at the time.
Everybody was running reruns, that's right. Yeah, and you know what that was about?
But it was the only way that you could get your voices heard.
Exactly right. You have to go on strike. Nobody wants to do a strike, but sometimes that is it. And again, we who don't make very much money and don't get good treatment and don't have automatic health insurance, right? This doesn't happen with us. We have to do something about it by striking, okay? Now, in that particular case, the Writers Guild, whenever one of their episodes ran, if you were the screenwriter, you were the writer of the show, when an episode ran on TV, you got 2 cents.
Yeah.
When you sold a DVD of that, you got 2 cents. That was it. And you know what they were striking for? A total of 4 cents. We said we wanted to get 4 cents per time instead of 2, and the producers say that's outrageous. They will simply not budge. Every single time they say, no, we won't, too bad. Go ahead, go on strike. We don't care, you know. But that's what happened.
And they did. They didn't think they would.
Yep. They always think they're bluffing. Sorry?
Talk to Howard historical sing-along blog by Josh Whedon, that came out of the writer's strikes because they were on strike. He went, I'm gonna make my own project.
Yep,
So, yeah.
So yeah, he made a web series.
yep.
Of course, this was before the internet and the web and everything, so it was a totally different thing. When they went on strike, the TV programs kind of died.
Okay, guys, that's it for this particular panel. Please come back at 4 o'clock for Voice Performer, especially those of you who are performing. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So come back for Voice Performer. I'll talk about what we did yesterday with Voice Maker. I'll go over a little bit of how I create the voices, and then I'll have the actors that I chose, that I handed copy to who are practicing, will actually get up and do these. So please, everybody, come if you can. Thanks again, Buckaroo.